Remember that little non-league team we started managing 11 and a half seasons ago? Well, today they play Tottenham and West Ham in, competitive football matches. Well, they won't be that competitive. But they're officially competitive football matches. This is mad. Hello and welcome to part 94 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're away against Tottenham in the FA Cup third round, and then we have a championship game at home against West Ham. Since you were last with me, we've carried on with our sort of random up and down mixed form. We did get the all-important back-to-back victories that we were looking for in yesterday's episode. We got them against Leeds and Burton, then went on for 3 games without a win before picking up a massively important win against Rochdale in our last game. So all that means currently the championship table looks like this. 26 games in. It's the 6th of January. We're in 15th place with 31 points from 26 games. We're 5 points clear from the relegation zone. It's all looking good at the moment. If we can carry on picking up points at roughly 6 or 7 points every 6 games, we're going to be absolutely fine. We're well ahead of the Kev ratio. It's all going to be good, I hope. But Tottenham is a more important game, arguably, because it should, in theory, wipe off a significant chunk of, if not all of, this debt that we're in. And it's really going to be make or break about whether or not we have to sell a player. We've had £750,000 offers for both James Ball and Joshua Sawyer, both from Sheffield United, interestingly, who are up in the playoff positions. We've turned them both down right now on the basis of seeing how much money we make out of this Tottenham game. If we go back into the black as a result of this game, then we don't need to sell anybody this January. If we don't, then we're going to have to sell one of them, and they're both kind of irreplaceable. So that would be a problem. But, we're a selling club. Until we get to the point where we're properly established at this level, we are a selling club. There's a couple of transfer news as well. We've lost... No, it's not even on that screen. Fletcher has gone back to Celtics. He was only on loan until January, and we've tried to put in an offer to sign him in the summer. He's not interested, so we've seen the last of him. Skelton, we've tried to renew his loan for another year, but Derby, not surprisingly, want to use him in their first team next year because he's been one of the players of the season in the Championship. So this is Skelton's last season. And also, that fella we had in on loan, what was his name? The centre-back, who's the one who we never played. I can't even remember his name. He's gone as well. That one, Kieran James, has gone back to Millwall because we weren't playing him. So, few little changes. We still don't have any money to spend, so there'll be no transfers in this window unless we sell someone for big money or make £10 million out of this Tottenham game. But this is the team we're taking out there for away against Tottenham. We're still doing the 4-3-1-2. We're still going control and flexible. We're going there to try and beat them. This is going to get messy. We've got Mitchell in goal, a back four of Anderson, Hughes, Sawyer and Lang, with Johnson, Longdon and Skelton in midfield, and Ball in behind Fisher and German. Let's get into the game. Score predictions down in the comments. Are Tottenham going to get into double figures, or is there any chance at all that we might be able to pull off an upset? I think it's really unlikely that we're going to be able to pull off an upset, but you never know. The other transfer news as well, Redhead and Philip Burns and Mole, who were all out on loan for the first half of the season, they're all back, which is why I'm not so bothered that fella's gone back to Millwall. He was like our 4th or 5th choice centre-back as it was. We've now got Redhead and Burns back to sit on the bench when needed, and Philip Burns is sat on the bench today. So I don't think we've weakened the squad at all with him leaving. I think we'll miss Fletcher. Owen Craigan is out on loan for the season. I am tempted to recall him now Fletcher's gone and use that as an opportunity to give him a little bit more game time. But I'm going to leave it until a little bit later in January. He's playing very well. I think he's in the conference. I forget who he's playing for, but he is scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's got a good average rating. But I think I'll probably leave it until the end of January to bring him back, just to give him another month of game time down there, and then bring him back just to sit on our bench for the rest of the season. And it's now 1-0 to Tottenham with 15 minutes on the clock. It begins. And they, the Nuneaton fans, in this tiny little corner of the ground, they could have given us a little bit more than that, although I imagine that tiny little corner has got more of a capacity than our entire stadium. This must be the biggest crowd this club has ever played in front of. I want to. It looks full. I wonder what the capacity. Presumably, this is New White Hart Lane. Is that what they're calling it? I don't know what the capacity of it is. What, 60,000? Is that about right? And it looks full. There could be 60,000 people in here, which means under FA Cup rules, don't we get half of the gate receipts as the away team? So a 30,000, potentially up to £30,000 worth of gate receipts. That should be like £5,600,000, surely. That should clear our debts fairly comfortably. So it doesn't matter if we lose 10-0. I think our debt's getting cleared as a result of this game. I wonder why they've not filled in that corner. Seems a little bit wasteful. You can even see the little ice cream van out there still. We've got one of those. And Tottenham are playing in this massive stadium. Mad. We've not had a shot yet. Oh, half an hour in, we've not even had a shot. It would be nice to get a shot. It'd be even nicer if we could score a goal. I don't have any expectation that we're going to do anything close to trying to get a result out of the game, but it would be nice to make it a little bit more competitive than it is at the moment, because Spurs are just absolutely destroying us. Oh dear. Oh dear, and now a penalty, and it was poor. If there was, I know we're not likely to get promoted into the Premier League anytime soon, but when we've played teams from higher divisions during the rest of our romp up the leagues, we've occasionally looked competitive against bigger teams. If there was any question at all about whether we'd be ready to move up to the Championship, if we had to the Premier League, if we had a late surge for the playoffs this year, this game is showing us we're absolutely not close to ready, and it'll be years. It will be years until we'd be ready to go and play in the Premier League. Even if we managed to somehow find a way out of the Championship, we would get relegated instantly. We've got a team full of players who were signed when we were still in non-league and in the lower leagues and for free. And yeah, look at the state of this. We have had a shot now, though. I can't believe that wasn't worth a highlight. Why didn't we get to see our shot? It might be the only shot we ever get at this level of football. Johnson. There you go. We're getting hold of the ball in midfield. Fisher loses it immediately, though. Dan Fisher's just doesn't understand what's going on. He's a League Two striker playing out of his depth in the Championship and sort of getting away with it most of the time, but against Champions League opposition, not a chance. Ricky German as well. 30 years old, he's playing at Championship level for the first time in his career, and now all of a sudden he's away to a Champions League team. And obviously, again, completely out of his depth. But Joe Anderson, he's never been out of his depth in his life, and he never will be. Look at that overlap run that Joe Anderson has done. And Ricky German has scored against Tottenham. There you go. That's all we needed. Ricky German, who has been on our radar since right back in that very first season down in the Conference North, when he was on loan. I don't remember who he was on loan at, but he scored an absolute ton of goals that season when we were really struggling. And right from that moment, I tried to sign him on loan every year and never got anywhere near. He was just never interested in coming to us. And we managed to get him last year. And here he is, aged 30, and he scored a goal away at a Champions League team. That's going to be the highlight of Ricky German's career, surely. It's never going to get better than that for him. Some of these lads might go on to bigger and better things. James Ball, for example, he's still only 25, I think. He could one day play in the Premier League for us. Ricky German isn't going to. But he's got a goal at White Hart Lane, and we're playing in front of 61,000 people. We've got 3,000 fans here, which, considering our average home gate last season was about 5,000, almost all of our fans have come to Tottenham saying, German's in again. Oh, I thought Ricky German was going to grab a second. Tottenham have had 6 clear-cut chances and only scored 4 times. Mitchell's having a cracking game, clearly. 4-1 feels like it flatters us massively, and I think there's plenty more goals in this yet. And is Sawyer going to get sent off here? This seems a little bit harsh. Joshua Sawyer sent off, and if it wasn't already going to get messy, goodness me, is it going to get messy now? Philip Burns is going to have to come on and play centre-back for us. The same Philip Burns who's been playing in the Irish League for Derry City up until like a week ago. This is a bit of a step up from the Irish League. And we're going to take off. I don't want to take off Skelton, but he's not playing well at all. You know what? We'll take off Skelton. Reputation means nothing. We'll drop ball back into midfield, and we'll do that. Philip Burns. can come on for Andrew Skelton. And hopefully that shows Skelton that he's not untouchable. If he goes to a big game like this and doesn't turn up, he's getting taken off. When we get a red card after 55 minutes and now it's 5. And part of me's thinking, future Kev, just put the rest of this game on fast forward and tell everyone the score at the end, because this is gonna get nasty. I genuinely am fearful of double figures at this point with 35 minutes to go and us down to 10 men with Philip Burns in our defence. I think I would be surprised if this doesn't go down as the biggest defeat in the history of this football club. I hope it just doesn't knock the stuffing out of us and ruin our morale, because we have been playing really well in the Championship. And if this now wrecks our morale, despite the fact it being a game we shouldn't have been able to win anyway, then that starts to become problematic, even if it does make us all that money that we desperately needed. German, back to Longdon. Can we grab a second? It's over the top for Dan Fisher, but he can't get there. I mean, he didn't stand a chance there, but we've actually won the ball back again, and it's with ball. And we're starting to, I mean, I guess it's because Tottenham have absolutely taken their foot off the pedal, but we're starting to have little flashes of not looking completely useless. But Spurs are on the attack again. Mitchell actually makes a save, and Anderson clears. Here you go. This is the comeback. The comeback is on. 5-5 draw, anybody? 6-6 draw, maybe. We've still not had a 6-6 draw in FM18, despite it being my trademark in FM17. So if ever there's going to be a game, wouldn't it be mad if it was this one? It's not going to be this one. It's 20 minutes to go. But still, Joe Anderson's having a meh, but no one can come on for him. Let's bring Ibrahim on. And why not make a third change? Lee Weaver probably deserves the opportunity to play at this level. Of everybody on that bench, Lee Weaver, he's the man who deserves 20 minutes against Tottenham. So let's get him on. And you never know, he might grab a goal. Anderson getting ruined again. Joe Anderson, remember, signed. I know I've mentioned it every episode. That man signed for us when we were playing in the Conference North and is now justifiably getting ruined by Champions League wide players because he just hasn't got a clue how to cope with it. And it's 6-1 now with 20 minutes to go. Tottenham, please leave us alone. This is punishment. Tottenham are getting their revenge over what happened at the end of non-league to legend. They're trying to make sure they get the last laugh. This isn't the last. Sorry for headphone users for punching the microphone. This isn't the last laugh. We'll come back from this, and when we're in 5 or 6 seasons' time, when we're in 10 seasons' time, when we're pushing Tottenham out of the top 4 and grabbing a Champions League spot, we'll remember this moment, because we'll have advanced and they won't have done, and our ground will be bigger and better than theirs, and we'll be the big club and they'll be lucky to get a goal against us. This is going away from being a motivational speech more towards me just having a little cry, and it's 7. Oh, it's 7. Tottenham 7 and Eton 1. And there's still probably 10 minutes of this game left. We're still down to 10 men. Oh, double figures. I mean, it could still be double figures. I don't remember ever having a double figures defeat on YouTube. We've had some double figures wins in the World Club Cup, but we've never had a double figures defeat. And it looks like, thankfully, Tottenham are letting us off, because with 15 seconds to go, it's still only 7, and we've got the ball. Longdon to Weaver. Can he grab? I'd love Lee Weaver to grab a goal. And he's charging forward because he wants one too. But there you go. 7-1. I don't think we can complain at all. I just hope that we're not absolutely destroyed going into a much more important Championship match against West Ham. Oh, look at the difference that's made to our finances though. Who cares that we just lost 7-1? We've made nearly £1 million in gate receipts. That is brilliant. And we don't mess around. We get a little bit of money and immediately, right, build the new ground now, build the new ground. The board of I've not read these yet. The board have announced plans to build a new stadium and in the process of searching suitable sizes and possible investors. The main reason behind the decision is to accommodate a bigger crowd. The board have, however, pointed out it will not be a smooth process and it will be some time before it can be finalised. All we know at the moment is it's going to be in Nuneaton. We don't know capacity, location, anything. Oh, here we go. I'm very pleased to announce plans are afoot for the club to build a new stadium. It's anticipated it will be finished by next summer, so 18 months' time, with a 15,000 capacity. Yay! Yes! The Sir Tom Elliott Arena, which they won't call it because who's it likely to be named after? It's going to be the Livesey Mason Stadium or something ridiculous like that. That would be hilarious if Livesey Mason, who played for us for 5 years and was only a first choice player for a year and never played for us in the league, imagine the ground being named after him. That would be brilliant. Couple of changes for the West Ham game then. Weaver comes in for German up front. Flores comes in at the back for the suspended Sawyer, and Ibrahim comes back in at right back. Joe Anderson's picked up a little bit of a knock, but it is just a slight knock. He's still at 95% conditioning, so he will continue to play. We've also had a change to vice captain. Josh McDonald, who's barely played for the last... he's barely played this season. He's very much our fourth choice striker now. We had the recommendation to come through to put him on our loan list. I think Josh McDonald's days at the club are numbered. We've put him on our loan list, taken him off a vice captain, and he'll probably be gone very soon. So Dan Fisher is our new vice captain. Joe Anderson obviously still captain, and we've had a look into bringing in a new striker on loan ourselves to replace the potentially outgoing Josh McDonald. There's a couple of options that I'm looking at. Hopefully we'll have one to show you in the next episode. One in particular looks like he's way above the level of any other striker we've got at the club. We're talking Andrew Skelton quality of player if he looks as good in the coach reports as he does on the scout report. So if we can get him, which is a big if, because there's lots of clubs in for him, but if we can get him, then he'll be a massive, massive signing. I'll show you him in the next episode, regardless of whether we get him or not, because then we can all dream about what could have been. And it's 1-1. Instant reply almost from West Ham. And West Ham, remember, are pushing up for automatic promotion, up in the playoff picture. This is another game where, in theory, we should lose. But we did score early on through Lee Weaver. Mitchell's just not even awake to that there. That's a little bit worrying for Mitchell. I hope we take these big tellies with us to the new ground, because I still don't really get where they came from or when they arrived. Perhaps one of my historians will go back through the old episodes and try and work out what level we were at when those big screens appeared and we were never told they were coming. I guess it must have been part of when we converted some of the... Did we expand or did we convert some terracing to seating? I don't remember what we did or when we did it, but there's definitely been some work done on Liberty Way at some point in the last 11 seasons. I'm guessing the TVs arrived then. I just don't remember them at all. And Dan Fisher celebrating his new role as vice captain with an instant reply to West Ham's instant reply, and with 12 minutes on the clock, it's 2-1 to us. And we're looking all right. We're playing really rather well. Look at those massive gaps for people to walk down. You didn't see them at Tottenham in the last game, but at our place we've got so many gaps for people to walk down. Do they need to be that wide? I reckon we could fit another 1,000 people into this ground if we just narrowed each one of these walkways in half and, I don't know, put some seats on this side of the poles. There must be ways to do it, but I suppose a new ground is going to be preferable anyway. What will be interesting to see is if we end up building it here and have to play somewhere else while it's being built. That hasn't been clear yet, because obviously we've not found anywhere yet. So it could still be that they just knock this down and rebuild here, in which case I guess we go to Coventry for a year. But the fact that they're planning on it being ready for the end of next season means it's going to have to be built pretty quick, especially if it's here. I've never known a ground be built that quickly. Right. 15 minutes in. It's been a very even game so far, end-to-end stuff. This is how we like to play football. Imagine a day when we can do this against Tottenham. Because, by the way, can I point out, we're still doing this against West Ham. And West Ham, although they're a championship club now, you know, they're a big club in real life. Lee Weaver's picked up a little bit of a knock. This could change all my plans. If Weaver gets injured, McDonald might not be able to leave after all. Although I guess if we do bring in another striker, then I suppose he probably still can. Fisher from range and can't quite get there. Ricky German, by the way, picked up a knock in training midweek. I didn't just abandon him completely after he scored at White Hart Lane. That's why he's not even on the bench. He picked up an injury, so he'll be back again soon. He's not proper injured, he's just a little bit injured. Hopefully, just like Weaver and Anderson are, and they're not proper injuries that we're picking up there, because we could certainly do without proper injuries, especially in a world where we've accumulated another suspension. We've had a lot of suspensions this season. It was our first red card for a little while, but early on we were getting red cards in almost every game as the defence were acclimatising to life at this level, and I think we eventually sort of figured it out and got there. But it was hard work getting to that point. How are we in the league right now? So if we were to win this game, that would put us up to 34 points, which would be an 8-point gap ahead of the relegation zone then. At the 27 game mark, it's starting to feel comfortable if we can hold on. We are still aiming for that 50-point mark, and as soon as we can hit that, the better. That would be awesome. Right, let's make some substitutions. Weaver can come off now, and McDonald can come on. Swap those two back round again, and Joe Anderson can come off as well. He's done his 20 minutes, his 70 minutes. Let's get Craig Hudson on. Take off the two players who've got knocks. Skelton, again, not playing very well. I am starting to get a little bit worried about Andrew Skelton, that he's not reaching the same heights he reached in the first half of the season. Now, there could be two reasons for that. Reason number one, he's trying to look rubbish, so Derby, let us keep him for another year. And I'm on board with him doing that. Reason number two, though, he knows he's going to be in Derby's team next year. Derby, I think, are in the Premier League now, and he doesn't want to risk getting himself hurt. I really hope it's not the second one, because I'd love to keep him around forever. He feels like one of ours. This is his... Is he had 3 seasons or 4 seasons now? I know he had that season gap when we got promoted and he wasn't part of the team because he outgrew us, and it looks like he's about to outgrow us again. But I'd love to be able to keep him around. Right, final change to try and grab a late winner in this game. And we're going to bring on Alex Barber for Skelton, because we were just talking about Skelton not performing. Let's put Barber as the Mazzala. 10 minutes for Barber to grab a winner for us, or anyone. I don't mind who scores. What's wrong with Dan Fisher? If all our strikers get injured, McDonald definitely can't leave, because this is now German, Weaver and Fisher, and now Longdon's picked up a knock in midfield as well. We're not going to do anything about that. That might be a mistake, because we've playing basically 10 minutes with a big hole in the middle of our midfield, and now we've given away a late penalty. So what did look like it was going to be a win against promotion chasing West Ham, we've managed to turn around into a defeat, because we're Nuneaton and that's what we do. So what was an 8-point gap is now back down to a 5-point gap again, which is still fine. We're still well ahead of schedule. We're still ahead of the Kev ratio, but it was all looking so good until injuries started to accumulate again. And we do have a paper-thin squad of first-team players, at least. I know we've got an awful lot of promising youngsters knocking around, but we really don't want to have to bring too many of them in one go when we're part of a... Well, we are still part of a relegation battle, and West Ham are through again, and 4 would have been harsh. Mitchell makes a good save. He says it would have been harsh. Looking at the clear-cut chances, we were absolutely mugging them at 2-1, or even 2-2. They've had 6 clear-cut chances to our 1. They're clearly a much better team than we are, and Mitchell just must have been playing out of his skin today just to keep us in it. But yeah, let's not get bogged down in those kind of details. We're going to go out of this feeling hard done by, and we'll like it. Fisher is in, and a late chance, but fires it wide, and it has ended 3-2. What a weird episode. Football-wise, fairly disappointing, but we looked promising in that game. We've got potential positive transfer news coming, and we've got a massive financial boost and a new ground on the way. So I think, bearing in mind we're still not in that relegation zone and there's still that little bit of a cushion, we have to call all that a positive. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.